Hello, my name is Vicky, and I'm a life coach here in central Newfoundland in Canada. This is my Thursday show that is sponsored by Diamond Factor Experience, and I hope you enjoy it. Stick around. You never know what you're going to find. Some days it's inspiration, some days it's education, and some days I get to interview wonderful people that I meet both online and offline. Thank you. Enjoy. Today, I get to talk to Chantal Bossé. Chantal is a friend of mine who lives in Canada in Montreal, and she is the owner, well, she's a partner in a business called CHABOS, and they focus on presenting instruction and assistance in IT and communication skills. So, if you look at all things business and communicating, this is your girl. Chantal also has a podcast that is still available through, I would say, just about any podcast service that you subscribe to. And it's called what is it called here? It's called the Trilingual podcast. And we're going to be finding out a little bit more about that too. So before I tell you too much about her, I'm going to let her say something herself. And I'd like to introduce my friend, Chantal Bossé. Welcome, Chantal.
Oh, I'm so happy to be with you, Vicky. It's so nice to connect again.
That's right. It's nice to see you again. You haven't changed much at all, I have to say.
Well, thank you. Although we sometimes change inside, I think. We realize that, yeah, we're getting a little bit older, but from the outside, it probably doesn't show that much.
And that's a good thing.
It is.
We want the change to be in the inside and the growth on the inside, and the
Oh,
outside to
yeah.
stay as much the same as it can.
Oh, yeah. And did we ever have to change from the inside in the past few months? But that's okay.
You're probably doing a lot of helping a lot of people change from the inside in both their businesses and themselves with your business.
I must say that it's true. Yeah, we do have to work, yes, from the outside, but it also takes an inside work. Adopting technology needs to come from the inside. If you don't believe in it, or if you don't think it's something usable for you, then there's no point in trying for me to convince people that it will be useful. And it's the same for public speaking. A lot of changes need to start from the inside because we
Yes.
are our own worst judge when we need to speak in public, whether on stage or virtual, like we have to do right now.
Yes, yes, I certainly agree with you on that. Tell me a little bit about your business. It's
Well,
in depth and covers a lot of ground. So I didn't want to.
yeah, we're focusing. Let's just say it's, if I have to do a summary in 3 words, it would be communications, collaboration, and technology. And that more focused description, I think it's thanks to everything that's been going on in the past few months because we had to focus a lot on technology. We're helping out this very small businesses adopt technology, do more collaborative work remotely. And that includes, yes, the Microsoft 365, Microsoft Teams to do presentations, and yes, having more adapted presentation visuals. So all that stuff. And we have also the, how do we install, oh, just choose a license for businesses. How do we install it? How do we make sure we're configured correctly to have security covered? So that's about the whole thing we're doing right
I
now.
can be your poster child for what not to do. I'm, I think I had at one point I had 3 different Microsoft licenses, and I had no idea that, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
because
yeah.
they why would they send me, a promo for a product if I've already got it? So
True.
in my mind, oh, I need this. I don't have it. It just,
Absolutely. And you're right. That's one thing. Being a Microsoft MVP since 2013, we have that means that we're recognized as doing a lot of community work and helping the technology being
mm,
understood and promoting it throughout the communities. And that's one message we often have with the Microsoft developers saying that, you know what, it's not easy for end users. It might be easy for bigger companies, bigger businesses, because they do have IT departments. But for the people I work with, they usually don't have that leisure. And just getting a grasp of what freaking license do I even take? That
it,
is so difficult.
and what is the product going to do for me?
That's it.
You know,
And usually I just reverse it and I ask the person, what do you want to accomplish? And what do you want to get out of it? What will you be doing on a daily basis? And that's how we'll figure out what's the best license. What do you have right now? Where do you want to be in 6 months, in 2 years? Because that's how we make sure that we'll be adapting the right license instead of having something that's way too much for the needs that you can migrate to something bigger later on.
yeah, and there's probably a lot of duplication of what different products do for you. So you could probably
Mm.
save me a lot of money by and make my life online easier by simplifying, by paring it down, by getting rid of those duplications and the possible conflicting apps
Oh,
that.
yeah. Because let's be honest, we have so many apps available today, and many of them do the same thing,
Hmm,
just in
I
different ways.
I have G Suite and Microsoft 365
Oh,
Office.
geez, you're doubly equipped.
I know. So I mean, I'll be calling you after this to actually have a talk because no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I do. I have, like, which one do I go with? I don't know.
It always depends on what do we want to do, who we're working with, and sometimes it will be imposed by someone. Some people say, well, I only have a few consulting clients and they solely work, let's say, with G Suite. Well, yeah, you might need to work more closely with that suite then. But when we have our businesses, it also depends on the comfort level we have with the various technologies. Of
Right.
course, I've been working with Microsoft products and Windows for, I would say, almost all my life. So for me, it's probably easier to say I'm just jumping in on the wagon of software as a service, which is what Microsoft 365 is. I call it, even now, it's an ecosystem of apps. You don't only get the basic Office, and that's probably why they rebranded the name last spring, because Office 365 was really getting confusing for most people because they thought, oh, that's Outlook and Excel and Word and PowerPoint. And sometimes they even didn't think about Access or OneNote or whatever else. But calling it Microsoft 365, that opens up to everything else. Microsoft
Okay.
Teams.
Now, so do they still have Office 365 and Microsoft 365?
It's only called Microsoft 365.
Okay.
That's the big hat. Underneath,
Because
you
I
have,
think I also have Office 365.
well, it was called Office
That might be
365
an old
before.
installation. Yeah. Okay.
And that might be another thing that sometimes when we open applications, it will still show Office 365 in some instances, which is not very useful for end
No, it's,
users.
yeah,
It's
that's
just
right.
getting
It can get
confusing.
very confusing.
It is. It is.
But that's why your services are so requested, right?
Oh, yeah. And people had to adopt online applications and online collaboration so quickly that sometimes they said, okay, well, that should be easy. They installed everything the best they could. And sometimes they've been working with it and now they tell me, oh, you know what? Things are out of hand and it's so complicated. And then they start to think they need to add other applications and they didn't realize they had them within their Microsoft 365 license.
Right, right.
Example, some people say, well, I do need Slack. Well, Slack, yeah, you can collaborate in there, but you have Teams. So you could do everything in Teams. It's not solely for your meetings and your training sessions and whatever. So it's trying to help people figure how they can manage everything and use what they have available. And I would also say is have a better grasp at how easier it can be if you're using that ecosystem instead of trying to plug in applications that are
Yes, yeah,
standalone from everywhere.
a Frankenstein of a
Yeah,
system, right? That's
exactly.
working along not very efficiently.
Well, it's not as seamless. Sometimes you have to log in and out of so many places to accomplish the same task.
Exactly.
And at the same time, I know that people are saying, well, you know what, Chantal, Microsoft Teams is so damn complicated. I kind of agree at the same time because it's a huge beast that can accomplish a lot. But when people get the hang of it, and if people just do a little bit of training, just some bits and pieces for what they need at that moment, and then a few months down the line, they can get some more training to get a grasp of what else they can do in there.
To
It
layer
can be,
kind of to
yeah,
and once you get an expertise level at one level, then you expand that, and then you get to the
yeah. So that means that they can at least get a better collaboration level because they'll be using the tools and they'll be able to not fear it as much. But it can be considered a little bit more complicated. I do agree with that. And that's sometimes the biggest concern I have from people. But at the same time, we're in a new era where mostly we are online. And going with that, we must work a little bit harder at making our work ecosystem online a little bit more secure. And that's why I do believe for now, I always say for now because we never know in the future, but the Microsoft ecosystem right now is one of the most secure that small businesses can use. I'm not saying it's the only one, but right now it
but it's up
is one of the top ones. Yeah.
there. Yeah. So now also I would say that as people, if people are they have these products and then they make a point of using them instead of defaulting back to the the ones that they've always used in the past, that like
Yeah.
the patchwork apps that they've spliced together, then the whole thing will get easier for them. Do you
It
offer
will.
group training or online seminars or anything like that for?
That's something I have to develop a little bit more for, let's say, public sessions, because I've been doing a lot of them as private sessions, especially because of the pandemic. I've been working with some small businesses, sometimes developing a course training path so that they would see most of the applications in Microsoft 365 to help them have a better idea. Okay, what can we use? Because sometimes they just didn't know they could do so many things with it. And then when you understand the whole
Yeah.
thing better, it can become your one stop deal. You go in there, and I must say, Microsoft Teams, as huge as it seems to be in terms of having to grasp it and understand it, when the better we know about it, the best collaboration tool it can be, because you can just open that in the morning and you can do everything you want almost from there.
Okay.
So that's pretty amazing.
Well, you are giving me lots of ideas.
That's good.
Of ideas. Because so would I be one of your typical clients? Like I'm just me, just Vicky, I'm a coach and
Yeah.
do website, social media kind of thing. So I have a small remote team.
Yeah. Those are the clients we work best with because we make sure that we do the small baby steps, just what is needed when you need it. And I have way more fun helping out the smaller businesses,
Well,
whether it's one, two people. And the biggest one I've worked with so far was about 20 people in the team. And I find that those groups, we have such a nice dynamic that goes with
yes.
it. So that's why we decide to focus on those smaller businesses because they hardly have enough support, or
Yes.
they don't know that they do have support online with their license. But to be honest, sometimes the Microsoft engineers are not at the level the users are working at. So they cannot just use, regular language to help them out. And that's what we focus on. And we always say, you know what? When I hear Chantal, oh, that must be such a stupid question. No, there are no stupid questions, especially not in that huge ecosystem. It's just that there are so many things we cannot know about everything.
Well, and sometimes we do know those things, but we just can't see them how they fit in the whole scheme of things. And so it's
Yeah,
it might be this is like that, but we don't see that clear comparison to
true.
when you first look at it. And it's best to not assume that they're the same thing. It's best to assume that you need to ask and get clarification of what these.
Absolutely. And even when people say, oh, Chantal, I'll ask you, you know everything, I always correct them. You know what? I know where to search and look for or ask to someone that is way more knowledgeable in the whole thing if I'm not sure myself.
Yes.
Because to be honest, it's way too big for me to be expert level in everything. I will be
And
expert level in bringing up to speed everyone.
and with it, with the whole program, that whole thing evolving at
Yes.
breakneck speed, like when would you ever get any work done? You would just be training yourself constantly.
And that has been putting a lot of pressure on my shoulders in the past. Well, let's say all 2020 because they have been increasing the number of updates and new features at light speed.
Yeah,
It's
and in
incredible.
response to the whole pandemic, because you were in Europe last year, weren't you?
I'm sorry.
You were in Europe last year on a.
I was because I was doing recordings for LinkedIn Learning. That
Oh,
is something else. I call it my entry level training sessions. So
okay.
I work with them, and they have a very nice partnership contract that we can work with. But when I have people that tell me, you know what, I don't have budget, Chantal. Well, especially right now, it was mostly communications and presentations and PowerPoint. But I'm recording new sessions in the next few weeks from home,
Mm.
not in Europe that time. But that's how I make sure people will get access to really affordable
So on
training.
LinkedIn Learning, you're still covering the Microsoft 365 and the presentations? Yeah.
Yeah, although the 365 as a whole is not covered as much because I was really focusing more on the presentation side when I started with them. But now they're asking me the next two sessions I'll be recording in December are solely with Teams. So it will be Teams as a project management tool and how we collaborate on files with Teams. So that's a new era for me because I'll be opening up much more many more applications, I would say,
Right.
throughout the ecosystem compared to what I was doing before.
Okay.
But it's really fun work, I must say. I
I
have an amazing team with LinkedIn Learning.
Perfect. Perfect. So now if I were just a regular, like, free LinkedIn member, do I have
Yeah.
access to that course still? Or do I?
Well, when people go online and they have just basic membership, they will have access to a few videos from each of the courses. Usually, depending on the length of the course, you'll have 2, 3 free videos that you can watch.
Yeah.
But then having access to the platform requires having the LinkedIn Learning, the LinkedIn Premium subscription.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
But yeah, but I tell people, you know what? It's $35 Canadian per month, and you get access to the whole
No.
catalog of training.
Oh, is it that? Wow. Okay. They've
Oh
changed.
yeah, it's
Okay.
I call it dirt cheap because
Yeah.
if you have time for a month, you can do as many classes as you want, and then you just unsubscribe, and you've been improving your training big time.
Yeah.
But you can have it only $35 a month. I find it's a great way to improve our skills because you have
And
so many.
would somebody be able to enroll their remote worker for any of these?
They would because I'm not aware of how it works exactly, but there's a place that the businesses can ask and inquire what would be the subscription fees for
Okay.
businesses. And
Sure.
so you have more team members that you can
So
have in
so
there.
basically, people should explore their options on that and not just
Oh,
assume.
they should.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should. And I think it's a great way just to start the training mentality that sometimes we were lacking. It hasn't always been easy for businesses to have budget for training, but now I think it really makes it affordable.
Now everybody's on the, well, it feels like everybody's on the trading bandwagon, right? But
Yeah.
so it's like, gosh, when am I going to get any work done?
Boy, do I agree. We could be
But
stuck in
it's so
front of our computers.
right, it is so interesting. And so I get down that rabbit hole. And but most of my training is in a, it's not techie training, right? Which is where I really need the help. It's like, I mean, I've been working on computers since the 80s, right? I mean,
Yep.
so it's not like I'm a stranger to computers, but I've always been that kind of person that I will learn as much as I need to know, but no more.
Mhm. And you know what? There's no point in cramming everything in your brain when you don't need it. We called it, when I was doing course development, when I was in the corporate world, we called it cold storage because you're just cramming everything and then you're not using it for next 6 months because it just appears that you won't be needing it for that
Right.
time. Well, when you need it in 6 months, you won't remember anyway.
Well, you either won't remember it or they will have completely changed.
Well, in the 80s, 90s, it wasn't
It wasn't quite
such
that
a
fast.
problem,
Yeah.
but right now it is.
It's like, just Google it.
That's one thing. And that's something someone asked me just a few weeks back. Well, why would you put all that effort when you have so many people that can find it on YouTube? It's true, but you have many people now that realize YouTube has a wealth of information. Sometimes it's quality wise that you're not sure what you'll get. And sometimes you don't want to waste so many hours just trying to find content that is worthwhile for what you're looking for.
That's right. There's nobody that reviews the instructional videos on
No,
YouTube to say, yeah, okay, this is a good one, and no, you are bad, go away. It's
that's
just,
it.
it's an open marketplace. And so you can get, I mean, I remember finding one, I was looking for a particular thing, just, how do I, it was like a I don't know what it was. It was take a screenshot or something of my phone screen, like.
Yeah.
So I did a quick search on that, and I found a couple of YouTube videos that were so horrific. I should have kept it just as
What not to do.
what, this is horrible. I mean, it just, I mean, and I think it was like a 20-minute long rambling, oh, no, okay, no, that's not right. And it just went
Oh,
on and on,
not even edited.
not edited, nothing. It was just like a
That's
screen
bad.
share video, and it was just horrible. Yeah. So before we go though, I do want to touch base. You've got 2 books in the work.
Well, they're not officially in the work because, yeah, I did work on outlines and everything. We just need to work on more details and at least one topic. I might not have the editor or publishing house to do it, but since it's a guide, I might just do it myself and make it available online because I think it's still worthwhile.
These
So
are
that will be,
books.
sorry?
Are these technical books?
They will be mostly PowerPoint and probably Sway. Microsoft Sway is something that is not known by a lot of people. So I'm just kind of sticking it out there this morning with you. But yeah, that's in the work.
Breaking news? Do I have breaking news?
Yeah, you do. I haven't said that.
Tell me. Just a little bit, a teaser.
So, well, the Sway part, I might just do it myself because I'm not sure they're quite interested. So it will be a guide just on the how-tos and why it's so interesting. And the PowerPoint part, we do have a lot of more geeky stuff in there, not in terms that it's super difficult. It's just how you can manage to do presentations and leverage all the great tools that you have in there. So somewhere in 2021.
And what was that first one? Was that Sway or Swing? How do I spell that?
Sway, Sway.
Oh.
So that's a Microsoft application solely online. And it's a great way to put something that is really interactive online, easily accessible, either for your clients, either for readers. So there are many ways to put interactive information online with Sway. And it's unfortunately a product that hasn't been put forward as much as it should, I think, because it's really interesting.
Thank you. So I'm going to put your links to your website, your LinkedIn profile, and I'm going to put your email on underneath this video so that people can get in touch with you, because I think there's a lot of people that I know that could absolutely use your service.
And that it will be my pleasure to help them out.
Yes. Well, we'll be talking. Because I have been, you read my mind. It's just like I have just been hitting this wall, getting so frustrated with the conflicting, what do I use? Like, you see these little subscription fees going out all the time. And it's like, if I add all this up, with the things that I'm not using.
Yeah. What you just said there is triggering an idea, because I'll be starting the LinkedIn Live events soon in the next few weeks.
That's in December.
And that might be just the right topic to hit it off. Trying to help people out. How do you make sense of the whole thing? Because I want to focus on communications, presentations, and technology.
And what can I get rid of? Like part of the reason why I've kept everything is because the fear of, oh shit, if I get rid of this, am I going to lose this? What happens? How are these connected? It's just like, because it's an unknown area. I know.
I'll keep that in mind. That's a very interesting topic to start with.
Yes, well, I'll be there.
And I can do 2 sessions. I'll do one in French and one in English. So then we'll get the input of.
So what is the third language on your podcast?
Presentations. English, French, and presentations / technologies.
I was going to say geek, but geek speak, but it's present.
Well, you know what? Geek speak could sum it up because, yeah,
So it's a
geeking out on presentations and technologies.
multilingual. Well, Chantal, so nice to talk to you again. I think I
Oh,
might have to
thank
have you back because we just barely scratched the surface of all the stuff that you do. And
Be my guest. I'll be happy to share again. And if you do have any questions that people send you, I can talk on that if you
yes,
want to in the
yeah, you'll
future.
get the link to this, and we will forward any questions. So, for you people watching this on the replay, put your questions under the video and we will make sure that Chantal gets them, and I know that she's going to get you an answer pronto. Okay,
Absolutely.
perfect. Okay, so thank you and have yourself a wonderful week.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
Thank you. Okay, and for you guys who joined us, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week.